The history of the Rookery is complex. It's an amalgamation of an ancient geological formation, early 20th century oil and gas exploration, and the 21st century foresight of local environmental activists to recognize and nurture this ecological jewel in the rough along the upper Texas coast. Deep under southeast Texas lays a thick layer of ancient salt, which squeezed into a column 1 mile in diameter just below the surface of High Island. This activity brought salt and other minerals close to the surface and disrupted the overlying rock, allowing oil and gas to escape and travel toward the surface. Oil exploration at High Island began in 1901. At the same time, another, more famous salt dome was being explored at Spindletop, near Beaumont. These early efforts resulted in oil, gas, and sulfur production beginning in 1922 and continuing today. Another byproduct of the uplifted salt dome is the fact that High Island sits 32 feet above the surrounding coastal wetlands, providing favorable conditions for a variety of trees and shrubs and an island haven for migratory birds seeking shelter and nourishment after their long flight across the Gulf of Mexico. Clay Bottom Pond was dug by the oil industry. The material dug out served as a source of fill needed for construction of a railroad bridge over the nascent intercoastal waterway, and was subsequently used to enhance the water supply of the community. In 1967, the pond was expanded to accommodate the water needs of a new sulfur extraction facility. The serendipitous excavation of the pond left a U-shaped island where birds could find sanctuary away from the many predators in Smith Woods and the surrounding wetlands. Hence, the Rookery at Smith Oaks arose from a series of fortunate events, attracting people from around the world to experience its vibrancy and diversity. Mixed amongst the pink of the spoonbills, black cormorants and white egrets also adorn the island at the Smith Oaks Rookery. Neotropical cormorants dominate the black water birds, with a few anhingas seen as well. Like many predatory birds, the neotropical cormorant populations plummeted in the mid-20th century due to widespread pesticide use. Fortunately, with the ban of DDT and other deleterious pesticides, this bird has recovered significantly along the Texas and Louisiana coasts and has made inroads into the Great Plains through New Mexico. The most beautiful birds along the Gulf Coast is the Roseate Spoonbill. This spectacular water bird was almost hunted to extinction during the fashion craze of the late 1800s, but thanks to the formation of the National Audubon Society, recovered to its current levels during the 20th and 21st centuries. Spoonbills feed in shallow, brackish pools along the coast and nest in colonies like the one here at High Island. The nests are built mostly by the female with sticks, twigs, and leaves brought to her by the male. The female lays 1 to 5 brown-spotted white eggs that incubate for about 3 weeks. Both parents feed the young, who start to explore the area around the nest quite early. The chicks may leave the nest at 5 or 6 weeks and enter adulthood as strong flyers at roughly 7 or 8 weeks. Spoonbills in flight can be seen from a great distance, shimmering pink in the sun. Up close, they are a bit more prehistoric, belying their dinosaur heritage with a hairless head and broad spoonbill unlike any other bird in the world. common gallinule is a regular nester at Clay Bottom Pond. It forages along the water's edge for a wide variety of vegetable material and small aquatic animals. Except for the American coot, the common gallinule is the most commonly observed member of the rail family, ranging from near the Canadian border to southern South America. Its nest is a basket built on the ground in dense vegetation. The female usually lays 5 to 8 eggs that are incubated by both sexes for about 3 weeks. The chicks fledge after 40 to 50 days and become independent a few weeks later. The rookery is also home to the vibrant purple gallinule, cousin to the common gallinule. Much less frequent than the common, the purple gallinule is always a treat for birders and a cooperative subject for nature photographers. The American alligator is the predominant predator of the rookery. Basking along the water's edge while propelling themselves through the brackish water, they stalk the shoreline and feed on the fledglings, unfortunate enough to have fallen from the nests within their reach. These predators perform an essential job in the ecosystem, pruning the weak and sustaining a strong and healthy environment. Like the other birds on the island, the Cormorant Nest is a solid platform built in trees and bushes and made primarily of sticks, cushioned with twigs and grass at the center. Prior to nest building by both sexes, the male displays in a seated position with tail raised and the bill pointed up while raising and lowering their folded wingtips. The female lays 3 to 4 bluish-white eggs that incubate for 25 to 30 days, with young able to swim and dive by 8 weeks. It becomes fully independent at 12 weeks. The large numbers of white birds at the rookery are the great and snowy egrets that come to roost at night and build nests throughout the season. Like the spoonbills, populations were decimated in the late 1800s by plume hunters, the ladies' fashions, but have dramatically recovered and spread northward with modern conservation efforts. Indeed, the great egret is the symbol of the National Audubon Society. Compared to the great egret, the snowy egret is a smaller bird, slender, an elegant waiter with unmistakable yellow feet. Like the spoonbills, these birds nest in live and dead brush and trees, as well as on the ground. They nest in mixed colonies along with other wading birds, and are likely to make their nests higher than the other birds. Great and snowy egrets have very similar displays. A male will select a nesting site and perform a courtship dance with vocalizations, short circular flights, and invariably stretch his neck upwards with the bill pointed toward the sky. The nests are built by both sexes and resemble that of the spoonbill. They lay 3 to 4 pale blue-green eggs, which are incubated about 25 days. The fledglings explore outside the nest at about 3 weeks and reach their full flying potential at 6 to 7 weeks for the great egret and earlier for the snowy. Early haiku poetry simply states the elegance of these birds. The great egret waits, with its meditative grace, white feathers flaring. With long, graceful plumes, the snowy egret takes flight, in silence at dawn. The Rookery at High Island is unique. Originally constructed by and for the oil industry, it lay dormant for decades. Over the past 20 years, it has been resurrected through efforts of local environmentalists and the Houston Audubon Society to become a haven for breeding waterbirds. Many people visit the Rookery every year, including birders and photographers, teachers and students, and casual visitors from Texas and around the world. It is difficult to imagine a world without the Rookery, and yet it has only been in existence for a very short time. Only with the continued effort and dedication of people and organizations that understand and appreciate the importance of such natural oases will the Rookery and other special places like it thrive and continue into the future.